What if I told you that your entire 80-year life, your childhood, your career, your legacy, even your plans for this coming weekend, doesn't even last for a single blink of an eye on the cosmic clock?
Yeah, it's pretty humbling.
It really is. I mean, you are probably sitting there right now listening to this deep dive, feeling perfectly significant. You have a job, you have relationships, a solid sense of your place in the world.
Right.
But the universe's math basically just fundamentally disrespects your weekend plans. Welcome to today's deep dive, everyone. We have an absolutely incredible stack of excerpts in front of us from a really mind-bending philosophical and mathematical exploration.
It's titled The Cosmic Flicker, From Milliseconds to Immortality.
Yes, and our mission for this deep dive is, well, it's pretty ambitious. We are going to completely shatter your perception of time.
Totally.
We want to explore the raw mathematical reality of human existence on a cosmic scale. And then we're going to uncover how our deeply flawed species somehow accidentally hacked the universe's speed limit.
Which is it's wild.
It is wild. We basically became this planetary superorganism that is literally on the verge of immortality.
Yeah, it really is a massive perspective shift. I mean, we are going to take you from feeling absolutely microscopically insignificant to realizing that you're part of, the most defiant, triumphant phenomenon in the known universe.
It's quite the journey.
It is. It's a journey from pure cold mathematics to profound biological meaning.
Okay, let's unpack this, because the math here is truly staggering. But I promise you, while the scale of this might induce a little existential vertigo at first, the implications for your own life are incredibly empowering.
Absolutely.
So let's start with the universe's timeline. To understand what humanity has actually achieved, we first have to mathematically define our absolute insignificance.
Right. We have to set the baseline.
Exactly. And to do that, the source material uses a few different models to compress the 13.8 billion year history of the universe into something a human brain can actually, visualize.
Because the human brain simply cannot comprehend 13.8 billion years. It's just noise to us.
Yeah, it's just a big number.
Right. So the first model condenses that entire lifespan of the universe into a single hour.
Okay.
So exactly 3,600 seconds.
Yeah.
If you do the math, scaling down an 80-year human life to fit into that 1 hour cosmic history, that entire human life lasts for roughly 0.021 milliseconds.
Wow.
Yeah, that is about 21 microseconds.
Which is a number so small my brain just outright rejects it. I mean, I can't picture 21 microseconds.
Nobody can.
So the text stretches that out to a slightly more generous model, which is a full 24-hour day. If the universe has existed for exactly one day, your entire 80-year life, like your first steps, your first heartbreak, your career, your retirement,
All of it.
all of it equates to roughly 0.5 milliseconds. Half a single millisecond.
We really need to ground how fast that actually is, though. Because for context, a single physical blink of a human eye takes about 300 to 400 milliseconds.
Right.
And a quick, sharp snap of your fingers is around 100 to 200 milliseconds. So your whole life is hundreds of times faster than a literal blink.
Exactly.
It makes me think of like a camera shutter firing at its absolute maximum mechanical speed. Imagine you're standing in a pitch black room, the shutter fires, click, and it lets in a microscopic, almost theoretical fraction of a second of light.
That's a great way to picture it.
Just an imperceptible flash. But wait, this brings up a massive logical paradox for me. Yeah, neurologically speaking, it takes the human brain tens to hundreds of milliseconds just to process a visual stimulus and register a conscious now moment.
Right, right.
So if our entire lifespan on this cosmic clock is only 0.5 milliseconds, aren't we essentially living our entire lives inside a single incomplete cosmic blink? How are we even registering a now on that scale?
Mathematically, yes, that is exactly what is happening. We are a subatomic spark in a 13.8 billion year slow-burning firework display.
That is terrifying.
It is. But if we connect this to the bigger picture, in that imperceptible 0.5 millisecond flicker of a duration, humans have somehow managed to figure out the fundamental laws of gravity.
Yeah.
We have mapped the human genome, we've split the atom, we've built orbital telescopes capable of seeing galaxies billions of light years away.
It makes no sense.
And we have literally looked back at the cold, expanding universe and calculated its exact age.
But logically, that makes zero sense. I mean, if we are literally that fleeting, how is it physically possible we've mapped the genome or split the atom? Our brains wouldn't even have time to boot up on a cosmic scale.
Exactly.
And this leads to a thought experiment in the text that flips the perspective entirely, and I think it perfectly highlights the absurdity of our progress.
The 1-second model?
Yes.
Yes.
What if we scale the 13.8 billion year history of the universe down to just one cosmic second?
This is where the sheer, unadulterated density of human achievement becomes almost comical.
Totally comical.
Because if the universe's entire history is compressed into just 1 second, then one real-world second of human experience corresponds to roughly 160,000 years of cosmic history passing by.
Right. Imagine if a human being literally only lived for one real second. From birth to death, your whole conscious experience is crammed into 1 second. What could you accomplish?
Absolutely nothing.
Nothing. You'd have no time to learn language, no time to learn to walk. You wouldn't even be able to form a coherent thought because, as we just established, it takes up to 200 milliseconds just to biologically react to a stimulus.
Right.
Your entire existence would be a truncated, instantaneous flash of sensation without any narrative continuity.
And that raises a really important question. If a 1-second existence would yield absolutely zero recognizable human achievement, how do we explain our reality?
Exactly.
Because if we jump back to that one-day cosmic clock we mentioned earlier, recorded human civilization, all of it, from ancient Sumeria and Egypt all the way to modern day, has only existed for 31 milliseconds.
31 milliseconds.
31 milliseconds.
That is insane.
And in that impossibly tight window, we've gone from looking up at the sky and believing the sun is literally a flaming chariot being pulled by magical horses to establishing general relativity and quantum field theory. Theories that accurately describe 99.999% of everything we've ever measured in reality. We mathematically predicted the existence of the Higgs boson decades before we could engineer a machine big enough to smash particles together and actually find it.
It's just unbelievable.
And today we have artificial intelligence simulating complex quantum systems that we couldn't even write the basic equations for 10 years ago. We have gravitational wave detectors that can physically hear the ripples in space-time caused by black holes colliding billions of light years away.
Okay, hold on. I have to push back hard right here.
Sure.
Because when I look at that 31 milliseconds of human history, it is incredibly messy.
Oh, absolutely.
We are talking about 5,000 years of shaky, war-interrupted, plague-filled, mostly illiterate scribbling. We are an inherently flawed, highly distracted, often irrational species.
Very true.
So how could a species this chaotic legitimately be knocking on the door of a theory of everything? The text mentions we have mathematically consistent candidates now, things like string theory and loop quantum gravity, and we're actively trying to rule them out with multi-billion-dollar experiments.
Yep.
I mean, string theory attempts to replace tiny point particles with one-dimensional vibrating strings to unite gravity in quantum mechanics. How is an ape that just learned to write a few millennia ago even conceptualizing the fabric of reality vibrating in 11 dimensions?
It's a totally valid skepticism, but the answer is actually quite simple. We didn't play by the universe's rules.
What do you mean?
We took that shortest, most fragile biological candle the universe handed us, and we used it to light a bonfire of discovery. We cheated the cosmic timescale.
Wait, cheated how? Like, calling us a hive mind feels like a massive stretch to me.
Yeah.
I make my own decisions. I go to the grocery store. I choose what book to read. You know, I'm not a drone.
Sure, you feel like an individual.
Yeah. How exactly does me reading a Wikipedia page equate to a collective super brain cheating the universe's speed limit?
Because you cheat the speed limit by externalizing your biological limits. No single human individual could ever invent quantum field theory in a 0.5 millisecond life from scratch.
Okay, that's fair.
If you drop the smartest human alive into the woods with no tools and no history, they aren't going to build a particle accelerator. They're going to try to invent fire.
Right, they're just trying to survive.
Exactly. The secret to our success is that functionally we stop being individuals. We hacked the speed limit of intelligence by merging. We turned those individual isolated flickers of consciousness into a single, ever-growing, externalized mind.
Okay, walk me through that, because externalizing our limits sounds great in theory, but how did that actually happen in practice?
It happened in distinct accelerating stages. First, we invented external memory. Before writing, a human life ended, and almost all the data that brain had gathered just vanished.
This is gone forever.
Right.
Okay.
Then came spoken language, then writing, and then a massive leap with Gutenberg and the printing press. Gutenberg didn't just invent a way to make books faster. He gave the human species its first massive collective memory upgrade.
Oh, wow.
Suddenly, complex ideas didn't die with the person who thought them. They were stored outside the biological body.
So the brain no longer had to act as the sole hard drive.
Exactly. Then we developed the scientific method. Think of the scientific method not just as a set of rules, but as a self-improving algorithmic software for that collective memory.
That's a cool way to look at it.
It was a way to rigorously test and verify the external data we were storing. Then we invented external senses, like microscopes to see the impossibly small, telescopes to see the impossibly distant. Finally, we linked it all together. The internet made this hive mind instantaneous across the entire globe. And now, artificial intelligence is acting as externalized thought, removing the very last biological speed limit on how fast that collective mind can process the information it holds.
There is this specific, highly relatable detail from the text that I absolutely love, about a hypothetical guy named Tony from Klerksdorp.
Oh, yeah, I love that part.
And I think this perfectly answers my own skepticism about feeling like an independent individual. Tony finishes his workday, he logs off his laptop, he closes his screens, and he goes outside to walk his dog.
Completely normal day.
Exactly. He feels completely independent. He feels like just Tony from Klerksdorp, living his own private life. But while he's walking, he pulls out his smartphone to check a map for a new coffee shop.
Right.
What Tony doesn't realize is that the GPS in his phone only works because the satellites orbiting the Earth are constantly adjusting their internal clocks to account for time dilation.
Which is a phenomenon mathematically proven by Albert Einstein's theory of general relativity.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tony is literally leveraging the dead genius of Albert Einstein, processed through decades of aerospace engineering, just to find a flat white.
It's amazing.
He is completely oblivious to the fact that he is plugged into a 24/7 planetary superorganism. Here's where it gets really interesting. This superorganism is made of Isaac Newton's notebooks, CERN's data streams, and GPT's neural weights. It was a beautifully stealthy assimilation.
What's fascinating here is that unlike the Borg from Star Trek, who relied on violence and forcing people into a collective with those terrifying resistance, is futile speeches.
Right.
We assimilated ourselves. We did it entirely through sheer curiosity. We wanted to understand the universe before our half millisecond ran out, so we shared our notes.
Yeah.
Every single insight you or I use today was built by someone whose 0.5 millisecond life added just one single brick to this massive invisible structure.
We became the Borg without ever realizing that I had become we.
Precisely. We are standing on a tower made of millions of those tiny fleeting bricks, and it's now high enough that we can almost see the edge of reality itself. We essentially turned a microscopic fragile lease on consciousness into a down payment on the master equation of the universe.
That is the ultimate flex. I mean, we went from lone cavemen staring at the stars to a single planetary intelligence capable of simulating entire universes inside silicon neurons.
It's breathtaking.
But this brings us to the final massive concept in the text. Because this collective hive mind is already effectively immortal. I mean, the knowledge of Einstein and Newton survives, even though their biological bodies are long gone.
Right.
The text argues there is only one logical next boss level for humanity. If the collective is immortal, we now have to elevate the individual human flicker to match the immortality of the whole.
Yes, the end game. We spent 5,000 years compressing our sporadic biological sparks into this continuous immortal mind. Now, science is sprinting down 3 parallel paths to make the individual consciousness as permanent as the collective one. The first path is what the text calls the wetware route, which is biological immortality.
Okay, don't just give me the buzzwords here. I hear terms like longevity escape velocity thrown around by tech billionaires all the time. The paper specifically mentions things like Yamanaka factors and senolytics.
Yep.
What are those actually doing to the human body? Are we just talking about living a few extra years in a nursing home?
No, not at all. We are talking about fundamentally reversing the biological clock. Take Yamanaka factors, for example. These are a set of 4 specific proteins that basically act like a factory reset button for your cells.
Wait, really? A reset button?
Yeah. In laboratory settings, scientists have used these factors to reprogram adult aging cells all the way back to a youthful embryonic state. They literally forget they're old.
That is wild.
And then you have senolytics. As we age, our bodies accumulate these things called zombie cells.
Zombie cell.
Yeah, cells that stop dividing but refuse to die, and they just sit there pumping out toxic chemicals that cause the inflammation we associate with aging.
Oh, I see.
Senolytic therapies are designed to hunt down and clear out those specific zombie cells. So we aren't just treating the symptoms of aging, we are figuring out how to repair the microscopic damage that causes it.
So longevity escape velocity is the tipping point where, for every 1 year you stay alive, medical science adds more than 1 year to your remaining life expectancy.
Exactly. You start outpacing death, and the text points out we are within striking distance of this. It's highly probable that the first human who will live to be 150 years old is already walking around today.
Wow.
Once that biological barrier is broken, an 80-year lifespan expands to hundreds, maybe thousands of years. On our cosmic one-day clock, your life goes from 0.5 milliseconds to actual measurable minutes. You'd have enough time to literally watch continents drift and witness ice ages passing.
You could just sit on your porch and drink a coffee while a glacier slowly carves out a valley in front of your house.
Exactly.
It's completely wild to think about. But then there's the second path, the text outlines, the software route. This is mind uploading. Substrate independence.
This is the digital Borg path on steroids. To achieve this, we have to map the connectome.
And that's not just a brain scan, right?
No, the connectome isn't just an MRI picture of your brain. It is a comprehensive microscopic map of the quadrillions of synaptic connections that fire to make you who you are. Every memory, every quirk, every fear.
Right.
If we can map that perfectly, the theory is we can port your mind into silicon or whatever advanced quantum hardware comes next. Suddenly, biological death is just a hardware failure your body breaks. You just restore your consciousness from a cloud backup into a new synthetic body.
Or you don't even need a body at all.
Yeah.
You could run your consciousness on a server at 1,000 times normal biological speed, living inside digital simulations where the laws of physics are entirely optional.
Yeah, exactly.
You could fly, you could breathe underwater, you could pause time.
Which naturally leads to the third path, the real endgame, the merger.
The merger.
This is where biological and digital existence completely fuse. We might keep highly engineered biological bodies for fun, or for interacting with the physical universe, but our minds exist primarily in digital substrates for eternity, essentially becoming a single, galaxy-spanning superconsciousness.
So what does this all mean? I want to ask you, the listener, directly. Which version of forever do you actually want? Are you staying in the biological wetware, taking your senolytics to comfortably watch the tectonic plates shift over millennia? Or are you going full digital Borg, uploading your connectome to outlast the burning of the stars?
It's a heavy question, and that profound choice brings us to the ultimate cosmic punchline of this entire text.
What's that?
The universe has been expanding, cooling, and evolving for 13.8 billion years, entirely without a permanent audience.
Right.
It's just been playing to an empty, dark room, or at best to these tiny 0.5 millisecond sparks that vanish the moment they open their eyes. But if we pull this off, if humanity achieves this endgame of immortality, the universe finally gets a witness that sticks around for the whole show.
We get to stay in our seats for the end of the movie.
We do. We get to watch the very last star in the universe burn out. We get to witness the theoretical Big Rip, or the Big Crunch. At that level of existence, the theory of everything stops being just a dense academic research paper we are trying to write, and it literally becomes the baseline operating system we run our consciousness on.
It's an absolutely incredible journey when you step back and look at the sheer scale of it. Over the course of this deep dive, we've gone from feeling incredibly small, just half a millisecond on a cosmic clock, a camera shutter blindly flashing in the dark, to realizing something deeply profound about our place in reality.
Yeah.
You, listening to this right now, stressing about your weekend plans, are actually a crucial waking node in a planetary intelligence that absolutely refuses to let the light go out. Your curiosity today, the very fact that you are actively listening and trying to learn about the universe, is the exact same evolutionary force that drove our ancestors to hack the universe's speed limit in the first place.
It really is. The drive to know is the drive to survive. But before we go, I want to leave you with a final lingering thought to mull over, building on that metaphor of the fragile cosmic candle we started with.
Okay.
If humanity successfully achieves this endgame, if we truly become this immortal galaxy-spanning superconsciousness, effectively becoming the operating system of reality itself, does a universe without an end, constantly observed by an immortal witness, suddenly lose the precious urgency that drove us to understand it in the first place? If we suddenly have infinite time, do we lose the beautiful driving desperation of the zero point 0.5 millisecond flicker?
Wow. If we conquer time, do we lose what made us human? That is definitely something to think about the next time you look up at the stars or, the next time you use your phone to find a coffee shop. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep your cosmic spark alive, and we'll catch you next time.